Hi there, and welcome to the first Hangout for August 2015. This is Android Coliseum, and this is also Hangout 126. Hi guys, how are you doing?
Good, you?
Oh,
I'm back from holidays and
Well,
in
that's
panic
good.
mode.
in panic mode, did you say?
Oh yeah, you know how it is when you get back.
Yeah. Especially after even after the long weekend. After coming back after the long weekend, you miss only one day, and it's like you're having to cram 5 days of work into 4 days now.
Mm, yes, and how, like, we're enjoying, I don't know, for me, Sylvain, I don't know what it's like where you are, but it's very nice, moderate summer weather. Warm enough you don't have to wear a
Right now,
coat or proper shoes, but not hot.
that's right. No, it's perfect like this. Love it.
How
Yeah,
about
I
you
can't.
guys out east?
I can't complain right now. I mean, the plus 40 humidity weather has dropped since Friday of last week at least, and now we're at about 30 degrees plus, so it's much nicer.
How
Nowhere
about
near that
you,
warm.
Ryan? I think we're at about 20 here, and I'm happy. So,
Yeah, we are at 16. It's been pretty cloudy and windy and a little bit rainy all past couple of days. It's
yeah, we're
okay.
Wait a
supposed to have a
minute,
warm
Ryan.
weekend.
Did you say you're at 60?
16.
16.
Oh,
Wow.
16?
Says.
Okay.
Yeah, feels like
I was
24
gonna say,
right
who
now
uses
outside.
Fahrenheit here?
Well, we've given you our weather forecast, being the nice Canadians that we are, and we are now going to move on to Android news. So, the first topic I am going to start off with is Android for Work. They're adding Canadian carriers for partners, and this is part of the bring your own device um, movement. I had a Samsung for a long time, so I had Knox, and I really liked it. And now at work, they're using Good, which is kind of. So, what about you guys? How do you feel about Android partnering up to do this kind of security?
That'd be nice.
Do you
I'd love
think
to
that
see it.
do you think employers are going to embrace it, or are they still going to stick with sort of insecure Apple and
I
other?
don't know, because like again, I don't know if I've told you guys like my story with my work. The reason they haven't adopted Android into the Exchange system is because they didn't trust the Play Store. So maybe the fact that they actually have a Play for Work might actually work. But we'll see. Hopefully, it changes people's minds, right? So
Yeah, I think people have this image of Android, well, and Windows and everything except Apple as being fundamentally unsecured.
it's the wild,
Which,
wild west of apps.
which is
Yeah,
kind of the other way around.
I know. And you just sit there and go, okay. So, yeah. Um, Snowball is an app that I used. We're going to move on. Snowball is an app that I used a long time ago when it was a little Yeti that came out and went back. And I liked how it worked then. And then I sort of went away from it. But Martin has been keeping up with it. And Martin, you have news of the latest update.
Yeah, the latest update, version 2.0, actually brings something different. And if you're a fan of getting your notification, this might actually appeal to you. Essentially, Snowball, what it does, instead of having that little Yeti that pops on the right corner or whichever side of the screen you have it on, it's actually grouping your notification and places it on like an overlay or on top layer of your notification bar. So, and when you do swipe it down, it groups stuff by what's happening now, what's important, uh, what notifications are happening, or notification you've actually hidden because you don't want to see them anymore. So they always go to that section and you don't have to see them. And it gives you different menu options if you access the settings from the left side, where you can actually still toggle your Wi-Fi, cellular data, and Bluetooth settings for people that want to use them. And one of the neat features is that it also allows you to reply directly from the navigation bar to a lot of services such like Facebook, Hangouts, Telegram, your Gmail, whatever else, and you can reply directly in line there. So without actually opening up the app, and you still get your communications across. So essentially, it's almost doing what the BlackBerry Hub does on BlackBerry.
Well, I shall download it because it still has a little Yeti as the mascot. So
Yep,
maybe that-
and not to be confused with Snowball Beta, which is where the old Snowball went to.
Ah, okay. Ryan, you have a question.
Yeah, so I just because I mean I'm not a I mean, I don't mind my notifications. The one thing I don't like about Lollipop, if I have any complaints about Lollipop, is when you do get a notification, that big huge white banner pops up and shows up and takes a long time for it to go away, especially if you're playing a game and you want to get up there. Does Snowball help get rid of that? Does it no longer have that part pop up, or
It replaces that pop-up. That pop-up, you still get the heads-up notification, but the fun part is if you swipe it up, it disappears without interrupting what you're doing.
Okay. I might have to give it a try just for that.
And it also allows you to actually pull down the notification, the heads-up notification, to give you extra options, like replying, hiding the notification so it never comes back, and stuff like that too as well.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I'll have to give it a shot. So, any other questions, comments?
Apparently not.
It looks really interesting. I'm always looking. I don't get a lot of notifications, and I turn them off a lot during the day because I don't want them jiggling on my watch, which I'm not always around my phone either. So, you know, but for people who are busier and much more socially active, I could see this being an awesome thing. Next up, Samsung is teasing the Note 5. Seen a lot of teasing on the Note 5. Like, I think lately they just sort of went, here it is, and showed pictures. So I'm sort of at the point where I'm wondering what the difference is between the Note and a lot of the larger phones. There's so many phablets out. And then the Edge 6 Plus, 6 Edge Plus.
S6 Edge Plus, I think.
Yes, and the difference between the two, I would imagine, will be the Note stylus versus the typical Samsung C Pen. So, what do you guys think? Is this on your horizon?
I've always, as an old Palm Pilot user, have loved the idea of a pen. I just found very little use case for it once I actually had it. You know, it's one of those things like I have it on my Note 8, and I was like, I keep like, oh, I'm gonna love to use this, and then you get it, and then you're like, man, never use it. So that's why I think maybe the S6 Edge Plus would be a better pick over that one than the Note 5. But I wish, like, I'm hoping that they don't come up with just the Note 5 with the edges. That the Note 5 will have one without edges and then one with edges, because I don't like the edges. I found on the S6 that my hand just kept touching the edge and just kept ruining the situation, right? So.
Well, I know for me, I'm the same way. I had the original Note 10, and then I had the Note 8, and yeah, I hardly ever used a stylus. On the other hand, I had the C Pen, the Samsung C Pen, and it is not battery operated, and it writes on Samsung screens. It doesn't write on any other screens. And it does give you a much finer control than those big blobby styli that you see everywhere. So it does give you that happy medium. And like from the picture on the Android Authority page, it almost looks like this kind of pen, not the stylus. So I don't know whether that the demo picture is. It doesn't look like the Edge.
I've seen a lot of pictures with the new S Pen, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago.
Look more like a pen then?
Well, I think that the picture we're seeing there is that it's probably that C Pen working with the S6 Edge Plus and not the Note, because the one I've been seeing with the S Pen is they were talking about having this clickable, retractable sort of tip so that you can put it in and it's then flush with your device. You push it in and it pops out and you can pull it out. Kind of like my Palm Pilot T3, if you guys remember the T3. The little clicking. So I'm guessing that's what the Note was going to look like. I'm thinking that's probably the S6 Edge Plus with the C Pen.
Edge. They're going to have to expand the alphabet soon.
S6 Edge Plus. So it should be the SEP or something. This is the SEP, Edge Plus.
Okay, so while everybody's in the zone for the OnePlus 2, you're hearing a lot about that. They're doing a lot of competitions and things like that. to drive up interest, apparently and I read this while I was on holidays, they are thinking of putting out a second phone this year. Ryan, what have you read about it?
Yeah, I mean, we've heard about this rumor for a long time that they were talking about this. I mean, way back when they did their original AMA, I think at almost the 6 month or 8 month time of the OnePlus, they talked about, we're looking at definitely a new style or whatever for the next model, and we're looking at potentially doing two ones. It was always sort of rumored way back then that there was going to be two. So when the OnePlus 2 came out, people were like, okay, this is not the flagship killer we were thinking of, and not even the 2015 flagship killer. They were saying it was the 2016 flagship killer. So a lot of people are looking at this. I think they were talking this is going to be later in the year, so closer to fall Christmas time. This OnePlus 2.5 will be the 2016 flagship killer. This will be the next device. So again, it'll be interesting to see what they come up with. Maybe they come up. One of the things they did sort of throw around when an AMA a while back was having a smaller screen device. People didn't want to get 5.5 inches. So potentially there might be a 5-inch model in play. Who knows? So it'd be interesting to see what they come up with. Again, I mean, I'm not quite so enamored on it. I know Sylvain really loves his, and I mean that event in New York they had with the pop-up kiosk, they had like 100,000 people show up to that event. So just to get an event. So I mean, it's got some really good traction out there, and obviously has a good following. So I'm interested.
Yeah, I think so. Sylvain, you have a comment.
Yeah, I just want to say, just for me, the idea of getting, phones after phones, many times during the same year is not a good idea. I've talked about that before. I think, and for OnePlus, they should limit to one good one per year. Now they're kind of going, okay, it's going to be a smaller screen, less RAM. Well, just go up and up, instead of trying to expand too much everywhere.
Yeah, I think that I agree.
Yeah, like Sony's doing.
Sony has for a company that was rumored to be selling their mobile part of their business, they've sure put out a lot of devices since that rumor. So, and we'll talk about Sony again later, but first, Martin has some sad news about our smartwatches. Are these all smartwatches? Sorry, Martin, or are they Android Wear?
This is smartwatches, and according to HP, they've tested about 100 so smartwatches on the market, including all the top favorites. And it was actually surprising to see what the commonly issues that they saw with the devices. They saw insufficient user authentication authorization. They had lack of transport encryption, insecure interfaces, insecure software and firmware, and lots of privacy concerns. And to summarize everything that we're talking about is our smartwatches, if they have network connectivity such as Wi-Fi or SIM capability, there is actually no real security built into these devices, which leaves them vulnerable to being attacked, infected, snooped on, and a lot of other things that they noticed. And some of the stuff they talked about is that every smartwatch that they tested was paired with a mobile interface that lacked two-factor authentication, the ability to lock out account after a couple of failed attempt passwords from the watch and whatnot. They had so many things they could do to them, and such stuff as they were able to recover passwords for all your accounts, get a full description list of all your contacts, your messages, anything that your smartphone does. Your smartwatches was able to get it without encryption.
That is not good news. I think that a lot of us think with Android Wear, since I'm not really storing anything on my phone, that my stuff for some reason is secure. Obviously, I'm wrong.
But I mean, then again, how much is this a little bit of fear, uncertainty, and doubt? I mean, I don't know. Like, it just seems to me, it's like, talking about credit card scammers or skimmers, right? Like, it's possible, Just people are out there doing it. Like, how likely is it that you're gonna
Run into those particular people.
get into that kind of scenario, right? It just, to me, it just seems like it's a reminder. Hey, for us right now, we have the carnival in town. Be warned, the carnies, are kind of criminal type elements. So
Not
they have
necessarily. They're just mobile.
But just saying, people say, oh, well, the crime rate goes up when the carnival comes into town, right? So therefore, but I mean, at the same time, like, how likely really is it? People just say it's a possibility, potentially, right? But is it real?
It always is a possibility. Martin, what do you have to add to that?
It's not so much a possibility as what they did is they did it in real life demonstrations where they had thousands of people and they got all their information within a couple of seconds. And it's out there. A script kiddie can do it. You go online, you buy the script to do it, and then you set yourself into a coffee shop and you're doing it to everybody within a matter of seconds.
See, and I don't go to coffee shops, so I'm pretty safe.
So I'm safe.
What about you, Sylvain?
Well, that's exactly what I was wondering. What are the chances that someone's going to be there exactly for that? Let's say at a mall where they get everybody's info, but Martin just said that they did that for real. So yeah, I guess it could have happened.
No more coffee, no more mall life.
Hey,
Let's stay home, watch Netflix.
Shit
Yeah.
Go.
Okay. Well, now that we're all staying home, we aren't going to use our HTC because they have started spamming ads. Brian has more about that.
Yeah, so no, this apparently has been seen in the HTC One M8 and the M9. I haven't seen it in the new Desire that I'm testing out. But apparently, as part of Sense, I don't know if it's part of their Blink feed or whatever, part of Sense will throw a notification into your notification tray. It'll be like, oh, watch, the Fantastic Four. And it's a fairly sizable notification, versus like a text message or a Gmail. This is like a full-on photo that says go catch the. So it's one of those things, like, you can say, yeah, I can get, there's notifications or ads, but Google themselves have really penalized apps that put ads in your notification bar, and yet Sense went ahead and did it. I mean, I guess it's one of those things people could say, well, it was probably part of a user license agreement when you clicked agree to when you clicked on your phone. But at the same time, if app developers can't do that, why does the OEM get to in just this one? And if it's just this one, how many more are potentially down the road going to come that we may not be able to stop? So it's kind of, I don't want to go too sensationalized about it, but it is kind of a pain in the ass, and it shouldn't have happened in the first place.
Well, and that it is using your data as well. It's not like, if you're on mobile, it's not like these ads are appearing at their cost. They're appearing at yours. Aww. So, anybody else got comments on that?
Who would stand for having an ad in their notification tray?
Oh, God, that would be annoying as hell.
No,
I would. Even if it was a great launcher, I would pay to get rid of that ad, right? I'd pay a couple bucks to get rid of that ad. But it doesn't look like you have that option.
The thing is, I don't want to have to pay anything. I don't, it shouldn't be on my phone.
Yeah.
I already have to deal with all the ads now on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, well, we were talking about Sony earlier, and the Xperia line has increased yet again. Ryan.
Yeah, so we were talking about how Sony loves to do, semi-annual flagship releases, and they did talk about how they were going to scale back the number of devices they released every year and that kind of stuff. So I thought but they still are releasing some of their entry line devices, and and they have gotten better. They used to have a ton of these T line, S lines. So they released the C5 Ultra and the M5. Now these ones they haven't announced the price, they haven't announced the availability, or they're coming outside of Japan or whatever. They have announced them eventually going to be coming out. So they're both an entry line device. The C5 Ultra is a 6-inch 1080p, octa-core, 2 gigs RAM. Nothing top of the line, 13 megapixel camera, nothing great. The M5 is a 5-inch screen, 1080p, octa-core, 3 gigs of RAM, so a little better there, and a 21.5 megapixel camera. And both these have a 13 megapixel selfie camera. So that's pretty huge for a selfie if you want, good-looking duck faces. And the M5 is also the IP6568 as well. So these are they're mid-ranger. They call them this in typical Japanese style, super ultra mid-range. No, just the super mid-range smartphones. So not just a mid-range, the super mid-range, which I would usually say for something like the Alcatel Idol as being not mid-range but much better than a mid-range. So interesting to see those guys out there. As soon as we hear about availability and costs and when, we'll let you know.
Okay. Well, yeah, we've been pretty lucky in Canada getting Sony phones, so hopefully these will come here, or at least we'll get to try them. Next up, there was a deal about stage fright, something that takes advantage of MMSs, and the deal going around was that if you just didn't have your MMSs automatically come to you, you'd be okay. But Martin is a little more tech savvy than certainly me, and so Martin and Ryan are going to talk about that particular one.
So there was needed some clarification on the stage fright thing. A lot of people thought, oh, look, my SMS application's been patched, and oh, I'm all good to go. Not really. Yes, it mitigates the risk, but the problem is that stage fright is actually a library in your Android operating system, and that library is exploitable via methods that are currently not really public at this time. And what's good about it right now is, yeah, sure, your SMS application is minimizing the risk, but it doesn't reduce the fact that you can still get compromised. And there are some OEMs and like Cyanogen Mod that actually have released an updated library to their own ROM, which fixes the issue, and which really helps. So yeah, I'll let Ryan talk about the next parts of this one though.
Yeah, so, and again, like as Martin says, stage fright is part of the Android library. There's a lot of people going around saying stage fright is the name of a bug, like the heartbleed bug or whatever, but this isn't it. This is actually an exploit using stage fright. So something at the system level needed to be changed, and just right now, I think they're starting to roll out the builds for the Nexus 5 and the Nexus 6, so that fixes that. And as well, they're going to be patching in Nexus 4 and etc. beyond that. Which actually brings us to an announcement that happened today by Google that says, they're very interested in making sure they have proper secure devices. And so in addition to Nexus devices getting platform updates as soon as possible, they're now committing to, and this is the best part, committing to monthly security updates for up to 3 years for your device. So 3 years, so you can have a device and it will get security updates. Any big bad bugs that are out there, it will be patching those things monthly. So, in practice, we'll see how that actually turns out. Maybe they're like, oh, this month there was nothing. We either couldn't fix anything this month, or there wasn't nothing to fix this month. But I mean, the fact that they are having somebody specifically looking into that once a month, putting that update out there, will be kind of interesting to see how that rolls out. I'm excited about that.
It will be interesting because, well, it gives a selling point for Nexus devices for people who are really security conscious in that way. And between that and the work thing they're doing, it also adds that level of security that people always feel, for some reason, they think Apple is so secure and without really doing anything, as if iOS is some magical system with curses or something.
It's put together with unicorn blood and
well, that would be the curses.
Fairy dust. Yeah.
So, everything that Android does is, for security is good, and this would certainly push their Nexus devices if they're the ones getting the regular updates, because carriers aren't going to do that.
Yeah, and OEMs are going to take their sweet time.
Yeah. So, going on, we have Project Tango is now available for Canadian developers. And what does that mean to you, Martin?
Well, Project Tango is a smartphone and a tablet. It's a project developed by the Google Technology Group called ATAP. It was formerly a division of Motorola, and Project Tango is a prototype Android smartphone that tracks 3D motion and creates 3D model of the environment around you. And that project is now going to be available for developers in Canada, and it's actually going to be available for other places around the world as well. And it's a really good project. It should be explored more. There's a lot we can do with that.
And it's nice that it's in Canada. Everybody says that Google hates Canada, but here they are.
And
Fine.
it's definitely being launched in Canada and South Korea first. So
Yeah, so I think that speaks well of our technology, our programming and technology abilities. For the last one, people moving from iOS to Android have been kind of snarky for a while. And Ryan, you have an article that says there's more to it than meets the eye, apparently.
Yeah, I'm being a little sensationalized. I'm like, holy shit! This is one of those things that you should probably, like, holy shit. The idea being, and I remember this about a year and a half ago. I used to work at a teleco store, and the idea being is that people that were buying, let's say, a Samsung device after being on an iPhone for so long or whatever, they were like, I'm not getting my text messages, or people can't text message me. And we were like, did you used to have an iPhone? Yeah. Okay, you still have iMessage turned on. And I bet you those people who are trying to text you that can is because they're on iPhone, and they're trying to text you via iMessages, and they can't because you haven't turned it off. And it just was this crazy schmozzle. They'd have to go, oh, well, what was my Apple password to get in, to go and turn it off. So this article I have linked there to you guys talks about how they knew about this problem for over 3 years, and they really didn't do as much as they probably could have. They were saying to deregister your phone number from an iMessage account would take up to 45 days, meaning that people that your iPhone friends couldn't send you text messages if you were an ex-iPhone user. So what's happened is they're actually, because of that, the situation that came about because of that, they were forced to come up with a quicker solution. And there was actually a class action lawsuit by some iPhone users to say, listen, this was a terrible oversight on your part, and you guys should have done better on this. So they're suing Apple over this situation, which is, totally plausible. You get it. It just, who knows. But what's interesting is that they've gone and applied to say that anything that they're doing in this class action lawsuit has to be sealed and secured, not let out to the public. Nobody can read any of these things. It's 100% like private. Which, no, Vince, if it's a class action lawsuit, you should be in the public eye over this. This should be out and about, but they're trying to hide it all up. And so there's a little bit of people talking about, is there something more? Were they trying to tap into ex-iOS users to try to figure out what makes them tick to switch them back to iPhone or something, right? Or whatever it might be. So what's happened is now Google and AT&T have joined forces to petition to the U.S. government to say that you have to make this lawsuit and the findings you get to this lawsuit public. They shouldn't be allowed to hide behind what they're talking about. Because a lot of the things that they did show were obviously redacted and talked about how they knew about this for 3 years, how they knew it would take 45 days. They knew it was something, it was severe enough that they had to do some investigation. And again, I'm probably taking this a little bit more sensationalized than it has to be, but at the same time, like, you know what? If this was iPhone and to Android users going to iPhone, Tim Cook would be all over this and saying what an evil world Google is, and there'd be photos of Sergey Brin with that little devil face he makes or whatever, right? So, yeah. But anyways, you guys can give it a read yourself, see what you think about it. But again, I read it and went like, holy crap, that's just crazy.
Yeah. Well, I think that's just crazy. Myself.
That's interesting, yeah, indeed.
I mean, companies are not compelled to be transparent, especially ones with shareholders. They are actually compelled to be as secretive as possible.
But when it's a class action lawsuit, at that point,
I think it's a lot like a lot of things like where you get money and there's a non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens all the time. Look at Bill Cosby. Like, he did that.
Let's not talk about that here.
No, I'm just saying when he did his lawsuit, there was a payout and there was a non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah.
So it's not uncommon. We'd all like to know, of course, but
Well, especially if they're trying to cover something up, right?
Of course.
You know, it's one of those. You know, people always say, "Well, if you have nothing to hide, then why cover it up?" I mean, that's a bit of, you know.
I can think of lots of reasons because
Yeah.
people will take one phrase and make a whole false story out of
Well,
it. So
hey, we're in election Canada right now, right? So being able to spin anything is going to be the raison d'être for the next 11 weeks. So,
at least it's only
anyway.
11. Anyways, moving on. See, we got into the Canada burble, but we were still nice. There was no veering off into acrimony or anything like that. We do have a couple of new reviews. Devices. There's the Moto G 2015, the HTC Desire 626S. So those are up or will be up quickly on the site.
Yeah, I should have the G up by this week. So I have it hopefully by Friday if everything goes well according to plan. So I'll have that one playing around with it. Very nice little phone. They sent me this nice little case. And I got to admit, the case for it is pretty cool. That the magnet part for it, like, it actually holds quite well. It's pretty neat. And this is the waterproof version, so I'll be testing that.
Cool. At least it's still summer.
The Desire 626, definitely thin for an HTC phone. Like I always find HTC phones a little thicker. Nice and thin, nice rubberized feel to it. Not a great screen, but I'll have this one hopefully by the middle of next week. I want to really put it through its paces. And then the new ZTE Grand X2 I should be getting next week to review as well. So plenty to talk about in review times.
Well, and always, there's always such a gap between announcing and getting and then in the store that it's interesting to see what people think of things. And then, of course, there's all the announcements coming up soon. So, until next week, when we have more to say, adios. Adieu. Good night.
Take care, guys. Have yourself a good night.
Bye.
Thanks, Don.
Good night.
Have a great weekend.
Everybody.